Hello, Fox 10 Talk Sports pregame. Robby Baker, Blake Niemann. It's a bye week for the Arizona State Sun Devils, but no days off in the Fox 10 Sports Department, right? Plenty to talk about here. Bear with us. We got some technical stuff here with microphones, it sounds like. But plenty to talk about in the sports world. We will talk Sun Devil football here, as we usually do, even though there is no game this week for the Sun Devils. And we will also get into Cardinals and Titans as well, because that is the big game coming up on Sunday. As always, if you're in the chat, if you're joining us, let us know. Give us a shout-out. We'll shout you out back. Blake, you were out of practice this week. Give us kind of what you've seen from the Sun Devils. I know the big emphasis was improving and trying to improve on red zone efficiency and specifically those goal line situations, because I think Sun Devil fans have probably started pulling their hair out a little bit when they go 99 yards and they get down to the 1 yard line and then everything seems to kind of fizzle out for ASU.
Yeah, just haven't been able to find a way to punch it through quite yet. Just really have struggled in the red zone so far this season. ASU has had 22 total trips to the red zone, but have only been able to convert on touchdowns 11 total times. So that's a 50% conversion rate. I didn't major in math, but I know that 22 divided by 11 is 2, or 11 divided by 22 is 50%. So not very good. That's failing in
I can't do math on the fly, but that sounds right to me.
That's failing in an academic setting. So ASU has got to get better in the red zone situations. And like Kenny said, it was an improvement from week to week. Against Baylor, they really couldn't even get close to the goal line in a lot of the situations. Now against TCU, they got close to the goal line, but couldn't quite push it through across the plane. So that's been the big emphasis for ASU as far as this week goes. Really cleaning that whole area up, and then just getting healthy. You know, guys are banged up, little pains here and there. Xavier Alford remains out with an injury. It's not been disclosed if he's going to come back yet. Jalen Moss, though, a really twitchy receiver out of Fresno State that fans have really not been able to get familiar with so far this season.
He's been kind of a curious case. There was a time where Kenny said he was going to come back, then he got sick and he had to be away from the team, and then the comeback for Jalen Moss still hasn't happened yet. So hopefully this bye week is good for him.
But he was a major participant in practice this week, so it is expected that he will be back against Utah at Utah the following week, which is going to be a very difficult game. That got announced that's going to be a night game at Rice-Eccles Stadium. That always seemed to be a big challenge when ASU was then in the Pac-12. So battle of former conference foes, now in a new conference. And the last time Sun Devil fans will probably want to forget, but Kenny's first season when ASU went up there, Jacob Conover was the quarterback in a slew year that trickled down from Jaden Rashada to Drew Pine to Trenton Bourguet to then Jacob Conover. And ASU lost that game 55-3.
That was many moons ago, though. That was a long time ago.
Less than 2 years ago.
It feels like 50 years ago with how much has changed for this ASU football program. It's worth noting that at 4-1 entering this bye week, that was Kenny said, I think after the TCU game, Kenny basically said if you would have said we were 4-1 and 2-0 in the Big 12 at this point in the year, he would have been elated with that. And I think that is fair, and especially when you look back at the time that Mississippi State loss. Granted, they were at the 1 yard line, all of the issues we just kind of alluded to when it comes down to goal line efficiency. Yes, ASU should have beat Mississippi State with the position they were in. However, that Mississippi State loss does not look bad right now. This Mississippi State team was inches away in overtime from knocking off a nationally ranked Tennessee team. They're 4-1, I believe, right now as well. So that Mississippi State loss does not look as bad at the time as we thought it maybe was.
And just to budge in is that I think, as Sam Levitt has said, he said on several occasions, without that Mississippi State loss, he doesn't know if they win at Baylor. He doesn't know if they gut that out against TCU. You know, ASU's had to pull off some comebacks in these, past couple of games.
They kind of needed to be punched in the mouth a little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, wait a minute. Okay, we are good. Everybody told us we were good all summer. We are good. But ASU kind of likes when, okay, they got beat by Mississippi State. They fell out of the rankings. The national narrative became, they don't have Cam Scatterbo. I don't know how they're going to win a football game without Cam Scatterbo. And that, honestly, and I said it at the time, too, in the sports office after that loss, we were kind of down and out, hoping ASU could pull it out. And I kind of spun it immediately and said, I think this is actually good because they kind of needed a wake-up call, and it seems to have been exactly that.
They feed off adversity. I mean, this is how this ASU team operates. They feed off the people telling them they're not good enough, people doubting them, getting pushed out of the AP Top 25 for nearly 3 weeks straight after they were preseason ranked, I believe, number 11, banking on the door in the top 10. Now they're finally back in it after knocking off number 24 TCU. And now they're out of the ranking, ASU 25th in the country right now. But look, this schedule that they have coming up after this bye week, before their second bye week, is the most important stretch of the season. They've got at Utah. Then they come back, I believe, and play Texas Tech at home.
And Houston.
Then Houston at home. And then at Iowa State
beginning
in
of
a
November.
rematch of the Big 12 championship. Combined, those 4 teams have a record of 17-1 right now. Utah's only loss is in a high-stakes battle against Texas Tech, who looks like the best team in the conference at the moment. That game's going to be at home for ASU, which is very big beneficial for them. But then Houston's looks really solid. They're undefeated on the year.
Yeah, they've been a surprise.
And then you got to go at Iowa State. Rocco Becht and company have looked really solid once again. That's in Ames in November, cold environment. This is easily the most important stretch of the season. I think, ASU, has to emerge 3-1 from this stretch, bare minimum, to still be in Big 12.
If you want to be in Big 12 contention.
If they want to be in Big 12 championship contention, ASU must go 3-1 in this stretch. And I believe if they do go 3-1 in this stretch, they have a very good chance of making it back to the Big 12 championship. You either have to beat Texas Tech, and ideally you'd beat Iowa State too, but you could afford an Iowa State loss in that situation, or vice versa. You lose to Texas Tech at home, which ASU, by the way, has a 9-game
They don't lose at home.
They were undefeated at home last year. They're undefeated at home to start this year. So I think that plays to ASU's advantage, having arguably the toughest opponent in the conference this year on your home turf in Tempe.
I would like to say it's also worth noting, if you are watching, please drop us a shout out in the chat. We'll shout you out back and let us know what you think about the Sun Devil football season so far. It's worth noting that it is nice being back in the studio this week too. We're not battling torrential rainstorms and
epic
hurricane winds and everything that it was adversity last week. There was moments we were just trying to go 1-0 in any given minute of the stream last week, but it probably turned out to be our I don't know if it was the most entertaining stream, because the week prior, 2 weeks ago, you got kicked out of where you were by security. And
Fox 10 Talks on the road has just been electric.
It's been, honestly, it's kind of like a downer now. We're just back in studio and everything's working. It's like, it's boring, right? But but this stretch is going to be, this is ASU's entire season coming up. And you mentioned going to Iowa State at the end of the year, beginning of November, and we shot a cool feature with Keyshawn Elliott, the big linebacker for Arizona State, who has just become a menace in the backfield. This entire Arizona State defense, 6 takeaways in the last 2 weeks. They're really coming into their own here. We shot a fun golf simulator story yesterday with Keyshawn Elliott that you'll be able to see this Sunday on Sports Night. And when we were talking to him about the upcoming Utah game, we were kind of joking, hey, you get him now, it's a night game, but it won't be snowing and cold in Utah. And he's like, yeah, I know, but we got to go to Iowa State in November. And that's going to be cold and windy and everything. So it'll be interesting.
And Keyshawn's from the Midwest.
He's from Kansas City area, so he knows what the plains and that part of the country can be like in November. But
yeah, underrated player, really underrated player,
and all-time great dude.
Yeah,
he was incredible yesterday.
Super great guy. Him and Jordan Crook are the alphas of that linebacker core. They call themselves the werewolves because when the moon shines bright, they come out and they're entirely different beasts.
That's what we call you too. Whenever there's an ASU football game, Blake becomes a werewolf.
They're super nice guys off the field, but when it comes to on the field, they become violent and physical and just bring that energy and that juice that really ignites this defense. And like you said, the 3 turnovers last week were even more impressive than the ones at Baylor. That Prince Dorba strip sack where he completely took it out of
I've never seen a play like
Josh Hoover's hand.
That was incredible.
Exactly. I had never seen anything like that either. I think it could very much be argued. I have recency bias, but for one of the greatest defensive plays given the situation of that singular game in ASU history for a defensive play,
I would say I would put that up there with Shamari's strip sack in the Peach Bowl.
Yeah, and then the Javen Robinson interception against BYU, and there's a lot of other great plays.
There's been, for some of the flack that the defense has taken at the start of games this year, because that is something they have to correct. They can't keep going down 17-0 in games. That's not a recipe for success.
But the offense has to hold up their end of the bargain in that regard.
Well, no, that's true too.
It's not all on the defense. The offense is key. Like these Big 12 teams are good.
Overall, I would say as a team, the Sun Devils. The Sun Devils did a good job last year of coming out in games and throwing the first punch. They really haven't done that in a game this year where they've opened up a 14-point lead and been able to kind of manage the game. But the flip side of that, though, is the defense. No matter what the situation is early in these games, Brian Ward, it's like he takes them maybe 2 or 3 drives, and then he says, okay, this is what the other team's trying to do, and they will never move the ball again. It's been crazy, and it really started the second half of that Mississippi State game. They shut down the Bulldogs, and then Texas State really never got their offense going. And then first couple drives for Baylor, okay, Sawyer Robinson, all right, Heisman candidate, boom, shut him down.
Yeah,
and then the TCU game, that was like Josh Hoover was he was like Sam Darnold seeing ghosts. I mean, after those first couple scoring drives, TCU didn't really do much of anything.
And Sawyer Robinson and Josh Hoover, admittedly from Brian Ward, are 2 of the best quarterbacks in the conference. Sawyer Robinson, I think, is up in for some of the top categories for passing and touchdowns in the country right now. And then Josh Hoover, Brian Ward said, was the best quarterback that ASU had seen in the Big 12, including last year and this year, the best since he'd seen that death row of quarterbacks in the Pac-12 between Cam Ward, Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr. So he's given them a lot of flowers, but then the defense has continued to show up time and time again over these past couple of games. And that's what I've said, recently, is that this defense is really the glue.
Oh, yeah.
This defense is what has been keeping this team in games, and now it's just the offense finding a way. Look, Kenny Dillingham has talked about it. They've controlled time of possession. They've controlled total yards. Now it's just a matter of the most important part in a fan's eye is getting that extra yard across the goal line, because they're getting down there and just not punching it in.
Can't get it in. It's also worth noting, we got a minute here before we got to hit break. We made it 12 minutes into the stream without mentioning the name Jordan Tyson, which seems like malpractice on our part. 7 touchdowns. I believe that's tied for leading in the country for a receiver. And we've known throughout the whole offseason and everything that he was obviously a legit NFL prospect. It's been cool to see these mock drafts. I mean, we were quick, give me like 10 seconds here, but he may be a top 5 pick. And that's like legit. I mean, NFL scouts that are coming to these games are like, yep, that's the guy.
Sonny Dykes for TCU said that he's better than McMillan in his eyes. And Tyson has the whole toolkit. He has the hands. He has the route running. He has the catch radius, and he has the smile. He's got the swag.
My favorite is when he jumps to make one of those great catches in the end zone, and it's like he's just floating. He just like levitates.
He's amazing
through the air.
And great human too.
All-time great dude. Everybody on ASU is an all-time great dude, I got to admit. We'll be back. Let's dive back in here. Fox 10, Talk Sports pregame. Robby Baker, Blake Niemann. We just got y'all caught up on what's going on with the Sun Devil football team. Bye week this week, and then next week at Utah. Primetime nationally televised game on a Saturday night. 8 days from now. That's going to be huge for both teams in their Big 12 journeys. Also, would be remiss if we didn't mention tonight, the Suns play their first preseason game tonight against the Lakers. First chance to see kind of what the Suns team looks like. No Jalen Green. He's out with a hamstring injury right now. And no LeBron or Luka for the Lakers.
But DeAndre Ayton.
Did you see what Devin Booker said about DeAndre Ayton today?
We'll see. We'll see.
And it was funny because somebody asked, I may have been Dwayne, asked what Booker would, what his thoughts were of how DeAndre would perform for the Lakers, basically. And I saw Dwayne's tweet that just said, Devin Booker's response was, "We'll see." And I thought he was paraphrasing. And then I saw the video clip, and it was literally just Book saying, "Nah, we'll see." That maybe says more than if he would have elaborated.
But on the positive side, Mercury, WNBA Finals,
there it is.
Game 1 in Las Vegas.
That was the next, that was the next thing to get to. Is if you're a basketball fan, not only are the Suns back in a sense, but yes, the Mercury 4 wins away from a WNBA championship. Get out of here!
And that's the key.
Great.
4 wins. Like this is the first 7-game series ever in WNBA history.
Yeah.
It's going to be long-winded. That guarantees at least 2 games here in Phoenix.
Next Wednesday and next Friday will be game 3 and 4.
And I'm sure the X Factor is absolutely going to show out.
I honestly do not remember. They just changed the arena name again. I don't remember what it is.
I can't remember.
It's a mortgage thing.
It's one of Matt Ishbia's entities.
Yeah. The artist formerly known as PHX.
But you know where it is. It's the same building.
It's the same. To me, you don't know this, but to me, it's America West Arena. That airline doesn't even exist
You're dating
anymore.
yourself, bro.
That airline doesn't exist anymore. But growing up, it was America West Arena. That's right. I used to go to Bank One Ballpark for D-backs games too. It was the Bob. Now it's Chase Field.
I think you're dating yourself, man.
It is what it is. It is what it is. The OG sports fans in the Valley know what's going on there. Let's dive into Titans Cardinals here a little bit. This is. I'm not trying to be a hot take guy, but this is a must-win for the Cardinals. Not because if they lose this, they can't go to the playoffs, but the Titans have lost 10 in a row. They're 0-4 this year. Literally, their quarterback Cam Ward. I cannot legally say how he described their team, but he basically said, "We butt," and then you can connect the dots of what
he said to keep it a buck. We're trash.
Yeah,
but replace the
swear word. I mean,
but a swear
if your
word.
franchise quarterback a month into the season is saying, "Yeah, you guys are right. We suck." That is not good. So
number 1 overall pick.
Yeah. So the Cardinals, this is not must win if the Cardinals want to keep their playoff hopes. But if you want to at least be sure that you are a competent football team, you better beat the Tennessee Titans. No, all respect to the Titans.
I don't know about how much respect we can give to the Titans. I'm just saying, because this is not just a
They're professional players, too. They try.
It's true. It's true. I could not do what they do. But here's the thing. The Titans aren't just bad from this season. They have lost 10 straight.
Is that bad? That's bad. That's bad.
That is tied for the most since they moved to Tennessee.
Is it really?
If they lose on Sunday against the Cardinals, it will be their longest losing streak since they moved to Tennessee from when they were the Houston Oilers.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Moved there in 1997. So this is a historically bad stretch for the Tennessee Titans. Cam Ward has done what he can with what he has been given. He is 0-4 with this team so far. And the problem is, it's kind of the Cardinals' superpower has been the Titans' kryptonite. It's the fourth quarter. The Cardinals have found ways to come back in games and make games close, have not been able to finish in the end, but the Titans have been abysmal in the fourth quarter. I believe they've been outscored 47-10 in the final frame, and have also gave up 20 unanswered points to the Texans last week. They started, it was a 6-0 game for a majority of the first 3 quarters, and then gave up 20 points to make it a blowout at the end of the game. For the Cardinals, after losing back-to-back games on game-winning field goals by the opponent, you got to find a way to finish off a game, especially against a team that is notorious for not being able to finish games.
I just scrolling through too, when you look at what the Titans right now, offensively, they rank last or second to last in basically every offensive category. They're the 31st overall offense, the worst passing offense, the worst scoring offense, and shout out, they're the 29th best rushing attack. So there's a few teams worse with them in terms of rushing the ball.
Speaking of the Cardinals' rushing attack.
But that was the segue there is obviously we know James Conner, IR, done for the year with the foot surgery, foot or ankle, and ankle. And then this week we found out Trey Benson is out for At least an extended period of time. He was placed on IR.
At least for 4 games.
Designated to return. So the hope is he could come back, but we don't know how long. So now it's up to Michael Carter. Signed off the practice squad this week. Very capable running back. It was a high draft pick from the Jets previously. And then Omari DeMarcado, who's been here for a couple years now. And
scored the touchdown, tie the game.
He did.
Came up clutch there for the Cardinals on Thursday Night Football. But, yeah, I mean, honestly, my prediction is that a lot of this rushing offense now is going to be put in the feet of Kyler Murray. He's a mobile, dual-threat quarterback, and I know they've tried to kind of get away from that and keep him in the pocket more and be able to work on those off-platform throws, but I think you're going to see him possibly having some more designed run schemes put in for him, just given the limitations that they have.
I wonder that, and I also wonder at the end, basically the way they came back against the Seahawks is Kyler just started kind of slinging it a little bit, which you have to do when you're down multiple touchdowns in the fourth quarter. But that kind of got the Seahawks on their heels a little bit, and there's a lot of, I'm not trying to play Monday morning quarterback. You play different. The defense, maybe it was a little different in the fourth quarter, a little bit more, prevent-y a little bit. I mean, this happens all the time late in football games. So maybe those passing lanes were a little bit more open later in the game for Kyler Murray. But I'm almost wondering if they zig a little bit here instead of zag. And we're not going full Cliff Kingsbury, 18 wide receivers on the field at a time. But I wonder if there's a part of this where it's like, okay, they cannot be. We're a run-first, pound-the-rock football team when your top 2 running backs are out and your offensive line has struggled for the first month of the year. It's just not a recipe for success. So why not you can't abandon the run entirely, but why not Kyler Murray, if he is your best player on offense, why don't you scheme to that a little bit? And it can still be quick throws and screens and some of that stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised, at least this week against the Tennessee Titans team that they should have success against, offensive to defensive. I wouldn't be surprised if they try some different things here, because they also had a little bit more time to game plan for this too, having played last Thursday. It's kind of like that mini bye. So you're not like changing your whole playbook here, but if they open it up a little bit more passing wise, and then maybe that gets Marvin Harrison Jr. going a little bit. I heard a stat today. I don't think Marvin, if I remember the stat correct, he's never, and granted he's only been in the league a year and change, but he hasn't had games where he's had 9 or 6 catches in back-to-back games in his career.
Wow.
And that's not like
he's got a small sample size, you know what I'm saying? It's like his second year in the league.
6 catches is not, that's not like double, like 6 catches, like if you're the top wide receiver, it's not crazy for guys to have 6 catches in the first half of a game, let alone full game.
Trey McBride is like considered their top target, so he's the wide receiver 1, but I think Kyler relies on Trey a lot. But here's the thing with Marvin Harrison Jr. I just think it's a weird phase for him right now. I think it's in his head. He's just a little too much in his head, maybe nerves. I don't know quite what's going on there. I think a sports psychologist might be able to explain it a little bit better than I could, but just the first half or second half performance, I think showed us a lot about Marvin Harrison Jr. and his character.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
Going from a big-time adversity, bobbling the ball, and then it getting intercepted by the Seahawks, and then in the fourth quarter, you come through with a touchdown to spark the comeback that ultimately fell short in the end, and then you could just see the emotion pouring out of him in the end zone on his knees, he said he was just thanking God in the moment, but he said that one meant a little bit more.
Well, you have to remember too, it goes back to the San Francisco game, because he said at the end of San Francisco that was the worst he felt like he ever played. He had the couple dropped a touchdown, a potential touchdown in the end zone, and then the next quarter of football he played basically was he didn't run the route that Kyler thought he was going to, resulted in an interception. Then he bobbled the ball, turned into an interception. The next drive, it was a weird, again, like Kyler thought he was running a go. Marv turned around on a hitch. Ball went 10 yards over his head. So to overcome basically a game and a half of the worst football he felt like he's ever played, to essentially be the reason that the Cardinals were even in a position to send that game to overtime. That says worlds to me about what he's built like mentally.
Yeah, so I'm hoping he can figure it out just for his sake, his personal well-being and things of that nature. Wanted to kind of shift to the defense here because, man, Calais Campbell, at his age, has been playing lights out.
The ageless wonder.
3 sacks, played, I think he had a few TFLs against the Seahawks, too. He's been one of their best defensive linemen.
Oh, he's been their best defensive lineman, I would say.
Along with their, highly anticipated signee of the offseason in Josh Sweat. They each have 3 sacks right now, but I mean, Calais Campbell has looked like the best one on the field, and I mean, he's playing at a Pro Bowl level right now.
Calais Campbell making everybody in their mid-30s proud. We're still young at heart here, Blake. Shout out to Melinda for joining the chat. Said she's not feeling great today, so Melinda, feel better, but thank you for still being here and taking part in Fox 10 Talk Sports pregame. We don't have anything to predict for ASU this week, and I guess that's a good thing because you can't lose if you're on a bye week for the Sun Devils. I will predict we will be doing the next time we do this will be ahead of Game 4 in the WNBA Finals, so we'll have a much better idea of what the picture of that looks like. Not just being a homer, but we'll predict the Mercury win the finals. I know the Aces have Asia Wilson, and I know everything that the Aces have, but the Mercury they're on a roll right now. And the fact that Alyssa Thomas lost the MVP to Asia Wilson, which is something that still boggles my mind. And there's just so much fuel behind the Mercury right now. It's another series where basically all the experts are saying, the Aces are going to win this easy. Well, the Mercury have won every other series in the playoffs that the experts said they were going to lose. So I like the Mercury to win this. It would be cool if they won it in 4. I doubt it, but so they could win it here. But I think the Mercury will win the WNBA Finals. Are you feeling similarly there?
Give me Merc in 6.
Merc in 6. Oh, that's good because then it would still be here.
That's what I'm saying.
I like it.
I think Merc in 6. I think they have to get one of these first 2 in Las Vegas.
Yeah, you got to flip home court.
I think you got to split, and then I think they're going to get 2 here, lose Game 5, come back here, win Game 6.
I love it. And then quickly, Cardinals. This is not going to be popular. I do think the Cardinals will win. I still think we're going to be sitting here next Friday saying, ooh, the Cardinals. I think they'll win. I'm going to go 21-17. I do not think it's going to be as sexy as people hope.
I think I'm going to give.
I'm going
to give the Cardinals a little bit more credit here. I'm going to go with a 27 to, and I think this Cardinals defense has proved a lot to me recently. I'm going to go 27-13. I think the Cardinals defense is going to step up, really shut down this Titans offense that has been really abysmal, and I think it's going to be a good win for the Cards.
Either way, we're predicting Cardinals win, so that's good. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's a Cardinals blowout and everybody feels great about the direction of this team come Monday. But hey, that's why they play the games. We have to wait and see how it all plays out. We will be back here again next Friday. Oh, before I leave, 7 o'clock tonight, ASU hockey on Fox 10. Penn State ASU.
Tune in.
Drop the puck on a new season. So watch that, and then watch the news, and then watch all the other stuff we do, and then come back here again at 3:30 next Friday. We'll see you then.